Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lachlan Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
Gotta remember to look over there, not there.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
only challenge.
Cool.
But anyway, welcome back to another episode of the Man That Can Project podcast. This is your third time.
It is.
You're a veteran.
Am I? Thank you.
You have to be a veteran.
We
I
should
think
get badges.
I actually might do that for the VIPs that just keep coming back. It's either we have a good time or whatever.
We're giving out badges for all our Wizards walks.
Really?
You want to come on the next one?
I do want to come on the Wizard
You'll get
walk.
a badge on the next Wizard walk.
So we got Wes returning from
Thank
his
you.
Wizard walk on the weekend. We've also got Paddy, who is...
Yep. Body Armour.
Can everyone see these Body Armour? Sorry, I'm looking at one camera, looking at the computer, but these are a game-changing drink that we'll be talking about shortly. They were my secret weapon at the honeymoon, and all the boys wanted some, but I did not share a single drink. When you find the goodness, you just don't.
No.
You don't give it away when you're on rations. But now that I know it's legit,
Thanks for the invite, guys. Good to be here.
great to have you here. Well, let's dive straight in.
Yeah, the game-changing podcast.
The game-changing podcast today. That's what Wes has donned this episode.
Yes.
We can't promise we'll deliver, but
Well, I think we will. I think we're going to knock it out of the park. Going with the cricket theme, like I was just saying before we went on air, that I feel like we're three commentators here watching the cricket. So it's a game changer.
did you watch Australia last night?
I didn't.
I just saw the highlights. We got it handed to us.
Yeah, it's not good.
Fisted.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good though. Like it makes us, work for it. So
Can I just say this? Sarge here, Patrick Sargent, is the king of cricket analogies. Like loves,
cricket. There's lots of aspects of life that you can, lean into cricket, and it'll give you a funny little line that you can share. Right, like if you're going well, you're finding the boundary, right? Or you're pushing the field back, or you might be facing some chin music, or facing some short deliveries, or you might get, might be the day's play might be ended due to bad light, so it might be it might be out of your hands. You might be in the team but not playing, like a 12th man. So there's plenty, there's heaps there.
told you he'd deliver.
Yeah, I spend most of my life as a 12th man. I reckon.
Sure, still in the photo.
It's just like the old school photos where you cropped into the side away for the day, and it's just like the worst photo of you possible. But Wesley, you've just got back
Yeah.
from a Vipassana.
Yeah, so that's the game-changing first conversation that we wanted to discuss. Gee whiz, time flies. It was about 8 weeks ago. So 8 weeks ago.
It's really 8 weeks.
Yeah, mate. I know. It was it was at the end of August. So yeah, that's definitely going on 8 weeks. So I've heard about Vipassana years ago. So what is Vipassana? Vipassana is a 10 full day silent meditation retreat. And I think most people have heard about it, but don't really know the detail of it. And so one of my closest mates, Warren Swanston, he did it years ago. He had a few health issues at the time, and this was one of his healing processes, which he did. And so he always raved about it. So I kind of had an introduction that way. However, my architects that do work for me, they're actually head meditators. So they actually take the course.
The one that you were at.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So for the last 2 years, they've been pushing me So 2019, I just kept pushing it off. I was quite busy with being in the Philippines for work and stuff. And then COVID hit last year. And I think you could say stress levels were high because we didn't know what we were dealing with. And, when you've got your own business, you don't know if you're going to be laying off staff and all this kind of stuff. Yes, it was just a full-on year. And, mate, I tried to get into this course and couldn't because it was all booked out. It was so booked out that they actually have to run now a lottery system. So
to get in it?
To get in. Right? Because no one can travel. So you can imagine, and then obviously I think we could all agree that no matter where you sit on the fence, just things are amplified at the moment. And I think people's stress levels are high and there's a lot going on. So luckily I just finally, I guess, after applying, got through. And that tied in with 2 months ago. So
just what's the application process like? Do you just do it online?
Yeah, so it's up at the study. Yeah, 100%. Everything's online from that aspect. You go, it's called Dharma. Dharma something. I'll share the website before we go because I want to read actually what it is because it'll explain it quite well. But yeah, just jumped on the website. You go into courses and then obviously each course you have to apply. It's generally about 2 months prior. Right. And it's interesting. The day that you have to apply, it's always on a Saturday and it's always from 1 p.m. And, mate, the window literally stays open for half an hour. So if you're not on the computer at 1 p.m., like going through the application, if you think that you come back at 3 o'clock or something like that, you're just not going to get in at this stage.
And how far out does a book it? So say when that window comes?
Yeah, so about 2 to 3 months window. So you can go on a wait list, of course, but the wait list is huge. So I wouldn't use that as a strategy. So I got through, mate, and I have to probably just explain this a little because even though it was a silent meditation retreat, I can tell you what, the head noise or what's going on inside isn't so silent. And what I'll explain will probably give the reason why. So I went in on this on the 25th of August, and it was a Wednesday. Anyway, I thought the 10 days starts from the Wednesday, right? So in my head, I was going in on the Wednesday, staying for 10 days. So that would mean I would get out on the following Friday.
Because you told me, and I didn't see you. I was like, where's? I want to hear about it.
Rather than just, and I say there's a massive lesson here is just read the small print, like read the details, understand the dates that you're going in. So I knew it was a 10-day course, but I thought I was getting out on the Friday. So I made the mistake of telling my mum, I'll be out on Friday at 6:30 p.m. I'll pick you up. I'll drop you off where you need to go. And then I'm going to shoot down the coast. I'm going to have a weekend to myself. I'm going to do all these things that I want to do. Okay. Anyway, so I go in on the Wednesday. You get there. It's made that, just so you know, it's up at Pomona, up at the sunny coast, and the scenery, lads, is just sensational. This thing is stunning. They bought this property in 1989. I reckon they're probably sitting on 100 hectares. So there's so much space. It is a big space. It's beautiful. Overlooks the mountain. It's obviously gone from a shed now into this really, I guess, full retreat of like a eatery area, individual huts. I got my own room. So you checked in on that Wednesday. You go through the process and you can talk, like you can actually meet the other participants. So it's not like you get there and they're like, hey guys, no more talking. You have a time frame. So you get in, they want you to get there between 3 and 5. So you go, you check in, you go through the process. They give you your room and then you can just shoot around. They say from 7 p.m. that evening, that's when you go into what they call noble silence, right? And that's when the 10-day, it's a bit more than that, but the full-on no talking, no eye contact starts, right? So 7 o'clock comes, they ring a gong, and you go into noble silence, and then from 7 till 8, that you actually go into your first group meditation, and they go in there. They actually allocate you an area which is a cushion, and you go in there, and you have a teacher. So it's all segregated. You got a male part and a female part, but you come together, but you're obviously split in half. There's a male teacher and then a female teacher on each side. So the teacher sort of goes through the process, what we're going to do. They talk to you. You don't, if you need to ask questions, you have a time frame for that, but I'll go into that a bit later on. So the first meditation. I guess you're there, you're excited, mate. Just nailed it. I'm like, oh, sweet, being really quiet.
Day one,
well, what I thought was day one, wasn't day one.
-3.
It was actually negative. Well, it was zero. It was day zero. But they just focus on the breath. All they want you to do is just focus on, in between your nose and your lip. So you do that, mate. We'll finish today.
So you just
breathing. Yeah, just all they want you to do is notice the sensation. So not necessarily the breath moving through. They want you to notice the sensation of that air or that little bit of sensation between your upper lip and your nose, right? Yep. So what they're trying to do is actually teach you how to narrow in. So that first evening comes and goes, mate. I was like, yeah, sweet. This is great. Done at 8, went straight to bed, 8:30. I was like, yes, Anyway, had a really great sleep. Day 1 officially comes, right? Which I thought was day 2, but day 1 comes. So how it works is they ring a gong at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Yep. So at 4 a.m. they encourage you to get up. At 4:20 they ring a second gong, and that gong is then there's an expectation that you meditate from 4:30 to 6:30. You can either meditate
just
in your room.
2 hours off the bat.
Yep. Meditate in your room or at the meditation hall, right?
So when you meditate in your room, that's when you go back to sleep, right?
What I'll do, I'll go through what the program is, and then I'll tell you what happened. So from 6:30 to 7 is breakfast. Right, so 6:30 comes, we go and have breakfast. Now, breakfast was really good, actually. They had a lot of porridge, fruit, toast. Mate, the bread was all handmade, made on site. It was the best bread, probably some of the best bread I've ever had. So they provide breakfast for you. And then from 7 to 8 is a break. And then from 8 to 9, you actually have a group meditation, right? So there's 3 group meditations which are mandatory, and you all have to come together. So from 8 to 9, you meditate. Sorry, that's my phone. I should have switched that off. Done. From 8 to 9, you meditate as a group, and then you have a little break. And then from 9 to 9:30, you actually do a small meditation together, right? And then from 9:30 till 11, you're expected to go back to your room and meditate. Right? From 11 to 12 is lunch. So they provide lunch for you, and lunch was hand down epic. Like the food there, it's all vegetarian food, but it was unbelievable. I did not have one bad meal.
Yep.
From 12 to 1 is a break, right?
And what do you do in the breaks?
Mate, well, you can't talk. So you'd literally just sit. You'd sit in front of, they have a little water feature, or you'd go for a walk, or you can go to your room and do, if you want to have a snooze, or you can do whatever. But actually, just probably something to point out, when you go into this thing, there's no phone, there's no computer, there's no books, there's no pens, there's no writing material. You are just there by yourself. And to be honest, it's really difficult, but if you trust the process, you can see why, because they don't want you to be distracted of going, oh yeah, that thought, write it down. They want you to just be and just actually focus on the meditation part. So 12 to 1 is a break. 1 till 2:30 is meditate in your room or at the meditation hall. 2:30 to 3:30 is a mandatory meditation up at the meditation hall. 3:30 to 4 is a small meditation. And then you break from 4 to 5. You go back to your room, meditate. From 5 to 6 is tea, but it's literally just a tea. You have a cup of tea and that's it. From 6 till 7 is meditation. So that's the third meditation as a group. And then you have a little break. And then from 7:15 through till 8:30 is, they call it discourse. So discourse is actually where I'm going to stuff his name up, but Gian Goki, the guy that brought this particular Vipassana meditation to Australia or to the world, they recorded him in 1991, right? They just filmed him, right? And he goes through every evening he from a video, of course.
Yep.
He discusses the day, you know, what you went through, what we're trying to achieve. Mate, this video, it's so funny, man. It's literally like a...
Has it been remastered? Or?
No, not at all, man. But it's so epic. But, mate, and it's like, it's got like a blue... It's so poorly done. However,
Perfect.
It is perfect because once you get past that, you realise it's the content.
Yeah.
And, mate, this guy fucking nails it when it comes to the content, right? So... That's so, and then obviously you finish at 8:30. He finishes at 8:30, and then you actually come back for a small meditation. You're done at 9 o'clock. You go to bed. You repeat that for 10 full days. That what I've just gone through.
Did you find yourself tired at night?
Mate, no, it wasn't too bad because you don't do any exercise.
Yeah.
You know, so your energy expenditure. No, I was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I did fall asleep pretty well. But no, I wasn't tired.
Not even mentally though, like just from trying to actually focus that much.
Yeah. So now I'll talk about that journey. So I went into, I think most of you boys know that I've got a bit of a bad back, right? So obviously went into it, and they literally, if you've got a bit of a back injury, boys, it does suck, mate. They give you a cushion. And you literally are sitting on a cushion, right? And you say you got your legs crossed. Mate, first night wasn't an issue. The first day, about the second meditation, my legs just started to really ache, and because I just don't sit with my legs crossed. It's not a natural position for me. Yeah, right. Anyway, and then so day one, all of a sudden by the end of the day, my back was starting to get really achy, and just my body. And to be honest, like I'd probably meditate for about 15 minutes, and then the aches would then come on, and I would just get lost in that, and I'd be moving my legs and shifting around, and I just couldn't settle. So that was day one. Day two, I persisted, and then I finally got the shits, and I actually went forward and spoke with the head teacher, and I said, listen, I actually have a bit of a back injury. I blew out 4 and 5 through CrossFit years ago, and he goes, oh, no worries, we'll give you a chair. I was just like,
Okay.
After persisting for 2 days,
I was
simple.
like, why did I? Yeah. Anyway, I found out that because I actually disclosed I had a back injury at the start. They were meant to actually offer me a chair at the start, but they didn't. And my friends that are teachers, they're like, oh, listen, we apologise about that. They should have actually said something straight up. Anyway, all good. We've moved on from there. Mate, I remember when I got that chair, I've no shit, and this so ties in with the title of this. I said to myself, this is a game changer. It was because I could actually now try and focus on meditating rather than focus on the aches and pains.
I was expecting you then to just say you had some breakthrough, like got to day 2 and all of a sudden
I did have a breakthrough, which we'll come to. So, mate, it just in terms of the no silence thing, like it probably took just for me it was probably about day 3, the day I got the chair, I reckon, but just being comfortable not having our phones or the computer or just actually detaching from all the stimulation. It was about day 3 that the brain or the mind started to quieten down.
It's crazy. I did a float before at City Cave, and even after 35 minutes, I got out to check my phone. Yeah. And I've done...
And you probably had to fight to get to 35.
Yeah, it was like... Normally, dude, I know, but I've done so many fucking floats, but today I was like... Because I said, keep the music on. But when they keep the music on, you don't really know where the time is. And I'm laying stark as in this thing. I'm like, what if I fall asleep and then they have to come in and I'm fucking laying there naked? And all these thoughts went through my head. So I was like, after a while, I was like, all right, I'll just get out and check the time, put my mind at ease, and then I'm quickly on, and I was like, couldn't it? Yeah, it's addictive. I'm in a fucking float tank that's designed for me to sit there and switch off. And my brain was like,
well, mate, no shit. Like when I was having, I guess, that time where you could stay in your room, mate, I would just by habit roll over to the side table thinking that my phone was there. Like it's amazing.
You've done it thousands of times.
Thousands of times that, mate, I have empathy. Like I know that feeling. You do actually by day 10, you forget about your phone. But just back to the story, it took about 3 days for that to slow down. Anyway, during the meditation course, I started to realize that I'm not getting out on Friday.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that, but just to put some context, like I went from probably meditating 20 minutes a day to then I got a dog, which took that out. I haven't been meditating that well up until now. So let's say I was hardly meditating at all to 5 hours a day, like this in this course. So you're going from 20 minutes to nothing to now 5 hours. So it was tough, man, because the hardest thing was just sitting and being, right? And all of a sudden that was sort of starting to, I guess, creep up on me, and the head talk was starting to get pretty loud.
What was happening? Like, what were those? Can you share some of that?
Oh,
stuff?
mate, yeah, totally. Just, mate, I'm like, oh my God, my back, my legs, I don't know if I can do this. Got the chair, but then obviously just sitting, like, mate, you know me, you boys both know me. I'm a tradesman. I'm on my feet. I'm outside. I'm training. I'm doing stuff, mate. Just the thought of just having to sit all this time, sit again, just started to play on my mind, right? And then, mate, this is the other thing. You know how we talk about how quickly time goes? I'm telling you, boys and girls, if you're listening, time slows the fuck down. Like, because you have no stimulation, like you all of a sudden feel every minute and every hour. It really does slow down.
And you've done this voluntarily. Yeah. You weren't put in this situation by another authority.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. So I was there on my own accord, and I'm like, what the hell? What am I doing here? So obviously the pain of the body, but then I started to realize, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not actually getting out on Friday. So, oh my God, I've got to do an additional 2 days of another 10 hours of meditating, going through this stuff silent, and mate, the head game. So I realized this on day 4. So day 4 to day 7 was probably some of the toughest head game material I've ever been through. Like, I was beating myself up so much because I'm like, you fuckwit, Wes. You didn't read, like, it said from the 25th to the 3rd. No, it said from the 25th to the 5th, right, of September. And you promised your mum you're going to pick her up, and mate, she was going to a funeral. So, like, I said I'd take her there, right? I've said to my mum I'd go there, and then I'm going to have a weekend. No way, man. I'm doing this. I'm going to have a weekend to myself. I want to go see my mates and cook a tomahawk and, go to the beach. And, I've got my weekend planned. And all I could think of is like, you dick, why did you not read it? No, and then I'm going, no, I'm not, I'm going, I'm leaving on the Friday. I'm resisting so hard, man. I'm like, no, and I was telling myself, this is how I'm going to tell the teacher. Now, this is all just going on in my head.
I've done this. I've learned everything I can here now.
Well, I'm just like, I was rehearsing how I'm going to tell Mark, the teacher, Mark, I fucked up. I promised my mum I was going to go pick her up, and I need to take her to the funeral. If I don't go to the funeral, I don't know, she's going to be upset and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, on day 7, night 7, I'm watching Goki talk, and this Indian dude, and mate, he literally just the power of listening. He's like, we live these busy lives, and we think that there's this value on being busy, and we just need to let go, and that life, can, basically throw us curveballs and whatnot. And mate, all of a sudden, I just had this realization. You talk about a moment. This is my come to Jesus moment. Was all I had to do was get a message to my mum to say, I can't pick you up and take you to the funeral. I'm going to stay here and see out the course. And I just knew all I had to do was get a message to my brother. Mate, this wave of relief was literally, boys, I'm telling you, like seconds.
And so it took you 3 days for that?
3 days to realize what I needed to do. And, mate, it was just this, oh, my God, just letting go. And, mate, it just washed off. Like, I can feel it now. Like, I could feel it go through my head and off my shoulders, and just this wave receding, and just, boom, gone.
Surrendering.
Mate, surrendering. This tension was gone. And then I started to realize, like, I am here for a reason, and that I need to bring my presence to this. And, mate, then other things that I learned out of it was resilience. Right, hanging in there, right? Honestly, it wasn't just, it was
Yeah.
just hanging in there and trusting the process and, obviously applying yourself, doing these teachings that they're giving you, right? It's only an hour, and then you have a break, but sort of resilience. And then the other big thing that I got out of it was my integrity, right? I said that I was going to stay here. I signed up for this course. And yes, maybe I got the dates wrong, but that's my problem, right? That's me, not the
good
course.
Ownership as well.
And I just went, fuck, I'm staying, right? And I know, like, it would have been nice to take mum to this particular event, but I just couldn't. And I got a message out to my brother. He said, no problem. And, mate, I hung in there. And, dude, I'm telling you now, I cannot wait to go back. Like the learnings, everything, like the benefits of now are soaking in just as much now as they were then. It was hands down the hardest thing that I've ever done mentally and physically, right? Even though you're just sitting on a fucking cushion or in a chair, closing your eyes and meditating, it was hands down the hardest thing. However, it has been the most rewarding thing that I've ever done from that perspective. Mate, letting go of the phone and the internet and just letting it be, and COVID and fucking women and men and business and all this shit. Mate, holy moly. Like, I actually felt it took me back to feeling like a kid when we had none of that, none of this stuff. Like, we're probably that generation where we actually never had this when we were growing up, right? We just had a bike and a slingshot.
You got to be creative in your imagination. You got to run wild west. Yeah. When you were saying before, like you felt like time slows down. I feel like the older we get, the more responsibility we take on.
Correct.
The faster it just feels like it's going. Like Amy and I were talking last night. We're like, realized like our wedding was 3 weeks ago, and like, fuck, life just goes. And I'm like, maybe even last year I had 8 things I wanted to grow in my business, and now I'm like, next year it's just 2, because even 8 things is too much, and you can't give enough time to it. And I'm trying to like simplify my life.
Yeah.
Because if you can give more attention and focus to less things, maybe you can maximize.
Yeah, totally. And you sometimes get a shock, or also, I guess, motivation. Sometimes when you see those, you'll check the Facebook and it'll say, 6 years ago you were in X and you were doing this, and it's a photo. It could be you and your mates somewhere, or you and a colleague or a work event or something. And you're like, oh my god, that was 6 years ago. And then you think, oh, okay, that was 6 years ago. Time has passed. Yes, it feels quick, but a lot did happen if I begin to unpack it. And then it might be like motivation, like, oh, this is moving quick, so what is really important here? Right? And actually doing those things.
And I'm going to run with that word, unpack. The 10 days gave me time to unpack things.
What did you unpack? Really what was one of the main?
Mate, I think it made me unpack just the busyness that I carry around in my life, right? And actually just letting go of that for 10 days. Mate, prior to me going into this, I've got a deal that's going bad, and it's now going legal. But that was happening just before, and I held on. I was like, I actually nearly did not go because I thought it would be more important that I had myself available.
Yep.
But I went, and I've learned that no, those stuff can wait. You can let go of those things that we deem important or necessary, and focus on me, and actually have a real unpack of, mate, letting go of everything. And the thing is like, if something went down bad, they can contact you, you know, but just knowing that you can actually go into these things and just literally let go of everything.
So many people, so obviously context, you run your own company, but there's so many men that I work with, or people that I know, that won't do things in their life just because they're even just working a job. And generally for people, an employer that doesn't value them and their life's not going very well. And you're like, well, how about you just take some time out and do this for yourself, spend some time in your relationships. Like, I can't afford that, or I don't have the time. And it's like, well, obviously everything's relative in terms of the sacrifice and the trade-off, but you said you were going through something that's now gone legal, and it's like you still fucking just bit the bullet and did it.
Yeah.
Like, I think for me, that's a big thing to take away from it. It's like, if you invest in yourself and put that time in yourself or your relationship or the things that are important to you, like, the rest will play out how it's supposed to play out.
Well, you talk about one thing that why I unpacked that deal in my head, and I have let go of I know, I was so angry, obviously, with myself, and then the guy that we got involved with that's now gone bad. But mate, I've let it go. Like, I know that I've got to have to go down this legal path, but I just went, yep, I'm not putting frustration and anger into this anymore because all it's doing is eating me up.
Yep.
But I needed to have the break to realize that.
Yep.
And, if you are listening to this and you do work in it, if you do work for someone or you work for yourself, it doesn't matter, boys or girls, take that time to just honestly get away from everything. And I know if you've got family and you probably got to speak to your partner, but I'm telling you, you'll come back. I came back so refreshed, man. I still even feel like I'm feeling good, dude. Energized, yeah. Like, because I've done that.
How does it then compare doing something like that as opposed to, obviously we get access to the restoration zone or daily meditations? Like, are there some pretty profound or significant differences?
Yeah, mate, I definitely, but in multiple levels. Like, obviously you've got the restoration zone. Like, I think those are, I don't know if it's the right word, but small wins, but which add to your day, where this you are actually spending the whole day being in a restorative area or position. However, it can be tough because you're just like, oh man, I've just meditated. Like, I want to do something, but I can't, Okay. So mate, it's probably just it's a different game or a different level that you start, participating in. However, it is something worth doing, and you won't realize the benefits until you actually get to the end.
Or doing and also facing, I think, because there's some people you notice, I think, if just the concept of being with themselves, even for an hour, even for 10 minutes for some people, it's tough. Don't want to.
Yep.
Want a new distraction or something, or drive somewhere or do something or get on the phone or work or whatever it is. That becomes their habit because they've got stuff that they don't want to tackle, right? And you can end up being an old person and never tackle it, right? But creating the space to do it doesn't have to be, like daily things and weekly practices are good, or even if it's just once a season, it might be like half a day summer, half a day winter, autumn and spring. I do this, just something, and then create a little bit of momentum. And then if you want to do something like that you've experienced, that's quite profound, right?
And they talk about obviously spending this time meditating or being at this meditation retreat. It gives you the ability, they call it, to work on your mental impurities. So working on the things that are really giving you some mental struggle. And
did you find like doing that a lot of stuff that came up that you maybe hadn't thought about for a long time that you'd buried and suppressed?
Mate, yeah, definitely. Like, I think it made me realize that certain things that I was putting frustration to, I just had in peace. Like, for example, I'm probably going to lose 300 grand. I'm at peace with it. Right? Obviously going legal. I'm at peace with it. I needed a break. Like, it made me realize this thing made me realize that I need to do more of this, of switching off, like completely switching off. For example, I turned 40 this year. I took 2 weeks off, but I kept my fucking phone and laptop on me. And what do you think I did every day?
Yeah, it worked.
I didn't have a break, mate. I actually went back and go, oh my God.
Yeah, you're still mentally.
Yeah, still.
That's what I was lucky at the wedding. Telstra died. My SIM card died.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I got it fixed like 2 days into being up there for like the Wedstival.
Yeah.
And then it shit itself a day later. And then because we were island hopping and the wedding and everything, I couldn't get it fixed. So I could only use Wi-Fi. But then when you realize phone calls aren't coming in or all the other stuff like.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be how you reframe your situation. You could reframe that and say, well, I will fix this ultimately. Right now, this means I'm just going to be here without this.
Downtime. I think I think it's much like you were saying, where your brain starts thinking, oh, what if someone's trying to contact me, or what if this going wrong, and you think it's always like worst case scenario your brain goes to. And then when I got back online, not a single fucking thing had gone wrong, and you're like, oh. I feel like it's so important. Yeah.
We will move on to the next game-changing thing, but mate, it was just pretty funny. Like it got pretty tough. That I was actually praying for like a COVID outbreak. So they had to stop. Yeah, so they had to stop the meditation. You had to go home, mate. It got tough, man. I'm telling you. Like this is the kind of like, but I knew nothing was wrong because in terms of the COVID, because mate, we didn't get shut down. The last meditation did. They got into day 3, and then we had a lockdown.
They do shut you down.
Yeah, they have.
So do you have to pay for this thing as
well?
Like,
thank you, mate. No, it's all donation based. And this is the beauty of it. And I'm telling you guys, if you check it out at ramidharma.org. Yeah, we'll put the link. Thank you, mate. It is all, you go on a lottery, you get chosen. And once you get there, they look after everything. They take care of your food, your accommodation. They provide bedding. They do obviously suggest you bring a few other little things, but they look after everything, right? Fresh water.
Can you brush your teeth and stuff like that, or do they fully take?
No. You brush your teeth. Yeah. You wipe your bum too.
That's a bonus.
Actually, and you'll find this interesting. You actually take a vow to not hurt animals, and then also not do any sexual
masturbation
interaction. So both with the opposite sex. So if you've got a partner that's there, you cannot interact with her.
How was that for you then?
Oh, mate, no jerking off thing was fine.
Yeah.
But how's this? Because it was so quiet, mate, my dreams were so vivid. Like, I'm telling you, I had some of the best, like, I went back to a period where it was like, whoa.
Do you think that was also because of the food? Like,
yeah, not having so much in your stomach, no booze. Mate, but I think just because I was so detached from everything that your brain, and it was quiet.
It gets creative
and it gives you that ability to dream. And mate, day 3, day 4 was like full sex dreams. Like it was epic, man. I was like waking up like I was a teenager, like going, whoa.
I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah. But then, man, that was 3 and 4, but then, mate, literally the last night I had the weirdest, like, fucked up dream, like, of China lobbing bombs. I was in Tassie and, like, this bomb, like, came in and didn't explode, but it was, like, just, like, laying there.
Like off Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, like, it was just, it was weird. So, man, I had a discourse of a lot of a lot of dreaming, but I did have a couple. But, mate, it was fine, dude. I once again, I said to myself, I'm going to trust the process. I didn't, because you could sneak a book in, mate. You could sneak a pen in and paper. Yep. But I just said, no, I'm going to trust it, and went along with it, and I'm glad I did. So, mate, that was a game changer, and I can recommend it. And I know when you have time, you'll get involved. You'll do it.
Definitely keen to do one.
Now, game changer number 2, mate. You know this. You obviously got married just recently.
I did.
And
yes.
I, as a wedding gift, I gave you 2 6-packs of Body Armour, which is now in front of us.
For those watching the YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, just quickly swing on over to YouTube.
Yes.
Where you'll get to see us 3 handsome gentlemen. And also the drinks themselves.
And, mate, Body Armour is a drink that's been introduced to my life through Patrick Sargent, who's one of my best mates. We've known each other from school, and I'll go on.
How long have you boys been mates, and what's that making?
Well,
25 years.
Yeah, 25
something
years.
Like that.
So
around that time.
Yeah, right.
Just to give you an idea of how important Patrick is, he actually won an award at my 40th.
That's right. I got a cupcake.
That was the award, but he actually won the award for the mate that pops up like everywhere all over the world. Like literally, like, mate, this gentleman here has saved me. He has, mate, put it this way, mate, we ran into each other in Nepal, in Kathmandu, at a fucking hotel where I'm like literally open up my window and in comes walking Sarge and a mate of his, and we're like,
what's all this?
Yeah, what's all this?
What's all this?
Pretty normal.
Yeah. And then I lost my passport in Vancouver. In Kelowna, in Canada, and Sarge was living in Vancouver, and he's like, mate, listen, come stay with me. And mate, it takes 2 weeks to get your passport. He housed me for 2 weeks, and mate, so I missed out on Coachella. I couldn't go to all these pretty cool things. But this gentleman here housed me. He took me out the weekend of Coachella. We went and did a little band, inspired.
Bands and little golf and hikes.
I am forever grateful for this gentleman. So he introduced Body Armour and he'll talk about it. But mate, this has changed my game in terms of hangovers and even sleep for me, which I'll go into. But mate, I gave you six to you and 6 to Amy.
I think it was more like a 8-4 breakdown to me.
Sure. Oh, mate, fair enough. Yeah. But I've been talking to you about this product saying, mate, you've got to get onto this. You've got to start drinking this before you have a few beers, or if you're having a bit of a bender, because it takes the sting out of the hangover.
Especially because I don't drink much either.
Yeah.
So that's that's the one thing I was worried about. Even actually, I wish I had it pre that as well, because I had 4 bucks parties this year.
Right.
Fucking carnage. And they were all like 4 days as well. So it was just bender after bender.
This is a test match. Yeah.
And I was just the amount of pain that I was.
Yeah.
It's like the Ashes.
Sure.
And I didn't come out on top.
Right.
But it was just constantly stinging. Like, I have bad hangovers and I feel depressed because I'm like, you're not being proactive. You're sitting there feeling miserable. Your head's pounding. You feel dehydrated. And then, obviously, those, I was like, damn, we're so lucky. To be honest, I thought they were going to be stubby size. I was like, I don't know how the fuck we're going to pack these, because we were full up. But then when I got them, I was like, oh, thank God, they can fit in the bag easy. But yeah, as soon as we obviously got up there, we got straight on it. So I had that before and then had it after. And I was...
Yeah, you did the one before and one when you got home. Yeah.
I was like best on field. And I can say that because of my own wedding, but... Yeah.
And there's a moment where you do your self-stock take when you do open your eyes in the morning and you're like, did that work?
Well, so
and then you go, you know what? I'm actually okay. I'm a little tired, but I'm feeling considerably better. And then you start your day again, right?
Yeah, and you feel, for me, one of the most frustrating things is waking up and your mouth is so dry.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like hoping that somehow you brought a water bottle in.
Or you like change the scenario where you're waking up and it's Monday and you've got to go to work, or you're in a hotel in a different city and you've got to get a flight somewhere, or you've got other stuff. We've got to go to a workout class or whatever it is that you've got on. You've got to face that and face yourself for those first few hours and get things moving. And there's coffees and there's meals and there's cold showers and there's all those things you can do. But if you can get ahead of it and be proactive with it, I'm glad it worked, right, for you guys, and it's consistent. Now, Wes has been one of our early adopters for years now, right?
Thought it might have been.
Yeah. I'm ordering 90 bottles at a time now, and that's no shit.
Well,
to have in the fridge, of course.
You've got them in the fridge ready to go.
Yeah. Well, do you want to walk us through it, mate?
Yeah, I think from the top. So it's not just me. So there's 4 of us in the business. Yep. So there's myself and 3 Irishmen.
3 Irishmen.
Correct. Yeah. Based here in Brisbane. So 2 of us have got a HR background. One's an electrician and the other one's like product engineer and model. So it's a bit of a mixed bag of characters. And I think the initial, I suppose, inertia behind this is just some blokes trying to make the second half of their life very different from the first half. So trying to, create something for themselves, create a business, create, something from scratch, build something, work together, navigate turbulence and hopefully come through with a new life, right? So we kicked off in about 4 years ago. And we've been operating for 3 years now. So the first year takes time. You got to, you source your own finance. Yep. You figure out who you are, branding wise. You're looking at colors, design, content. You're looking at ingredients. You go through that process. You're trying to, you can't always, launch a second time. You got to get it right and know who you are straight away. And then there's, there's lots of work to do around. And that means for me, I was one of the last or the last into the business in a full-time capacity. So the other 3 gents have been in it full-time for probably about 3 years, or the duration so far. So, and then there was enough sort of work to do that initially, and then for me in the last year to come on in a more full-time capacity is what I've been doing. So, yeah, it's a product that, you know, and an industry, hangover relief and preventative product like this have been around for quite some years, particularly in South Korea and Japan and places like this. I mean, it's a $1 billion industry in other countries, right? So these types of products, it's routine for different cultures to have them. It'd be as routine as you guys having a protein shake after or before a gym session. So, but here, not so much. And then from traveling through after, you know, Wes left Canada and I stayed on for a little bit longer, and then met up with some mates, and we traveled and did some, you know, different trips throughout the US, and went through Las Vegas, and there's a friend's birthday there. There's various products that you can use, and the boys did use different products, and they seemed to get them through the 5 or 6 days that they were there. So that was the idea.
Yep.
And then from there, you start the process of, you know, figuring out your business and building websites and figuring out, you know, TGA approval and making sure you've got the right ingredients, the mixture, the taste, the quality, the color, all that sort of stuff. It takes a lot of time.
How did you come across like all of the ingredients and stuff like that? Like, did you go off like stuff that was already in the market and stuff like that, or
Yeah, there's a variety of products out there, and there's a range of different products that have similar ingredients.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, that's what's out there. Let's look at this. Let's see what we can blend, and then what we can add. So there's 16 active ingredients there. That you've got the 4 key ingredients: Savina dulcis, milk thistle, L-cysteine. There's electrolytes. There's vitamin C. There's vitamin B1, B2, B5, B6, B12.
Yep.
And then you've got magnesium in there, and potassium, which Wes was saying a little earlier on, helps him get to sleep and that sort of stuff. So the product is a legitimate product. It's as I said, TGA approved, and it has a variety of health benefits, in terms of assisting your liver to do what it does best. Your liver is an extraordinary organ, and we put it under a lot of pressure, even just food wise and the lives we lead and drinks wise. If you're doing that over a long period of time, your liver works hard, right? So these products can help you lead a better life and get a better tomorrow.
Yep. So even if you're not drinking, for example, could this be something that you could just implement into your diet anyway?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you find like lots of foods out there that are, good for you, and you get in a good pattern of eating well, like Wes described, is trip away. But often in a busy world, and even if you're controlling your meals, often the nutrient content is not that great. So these types of products can be a good all-rounder to help you in that sense, replace what you don't get through food. So we have people that purchase the product that is just part of their all-round maintenance, I suppose, of their health.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So when I went through my vaccination process, I was hammering these as well. Yeah, because I'm just such a believer with all the minerals that you were just talking about and the product in there, that I was doing sauna work plus taking these, and mate, I felt weird after the first shot, but mate, second one, nothing.
You're fine after the.
I was fine. Yeah.
Second one leveled me.
Yeah. No, I used this kind of as one of the things. I was taking vitamin C, but I made sure I had 2 bottles, one in the morning, one in the evening.
You end up creating a pattern for yourself where if you do have functions coming up, or you're calendar driven, you've got stuff coming up, you're like, you know what, I need to have that now.
Yep.
And that's just in the fridge, or with me, because you know the benefit that you'll get, and you can play on the next day. So I mean, that's that's all really nice to talk about, and it's cool for me to actually sit here in a podcast and explain this journey to you guys. And there's a whole bunch of context that that isn't seen.
Yep.
And what popped out for me when Wes was talking before was just that resilience piece and just the ability to hang on.
Yep.
Sort of like that. I was explaining to a friend on the weekend. He's like, how's it going? We're like, yeah, good. Is it sometimes you get good, you get good momentum, and then like the Tyson Fury Wilder fight.
Yep.
And the momentum shifts, right? And
good fight.
It swings, and you gotta you work, you try to communicate well together as a team. Manage yourself, manage what you can control, celebrate the wins, try and figure out, how we can get through hurdles or, reorientate ourselves as a group to get through, right? So the last 3 years, like we've been operating in an environment, 18 months of that's been COVID, right? And so that throws a whole range of challenges at hospitality and drinks that perhaps would be aligned to supporting a hospitality type environment. So it's been a very tough but rewarding journey. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect what we've navigated over the last 3 years at all when we first started.
And I just think the momentum's starting to shift for you, Sarge. And obviously numbers don't lie, but since obviously I gave you the product, and I've been preaching this to Pete and Beck Hull, the owners of Fitstop. They're now going, mate, where do I buy that? I've got other friends just at the gym that are going, mate, what's that product you keep talking about? So that's grassroots stuff, and I think, but that's where the baseline starts, and now I think it's starting. People are starting to catch on that it works.
Yeah, and just numbers wise, just on the way in, I was just chatting to my business partner Tony, and like we were saying, the journey from 0 to 100 stores is really hard. Getting that in place, we're now at 700. So we went from 0 to 100, and then when this time last year we're at 300. Now we're at 700.
It's like the tipping point.
So and you forget sometimes, like that journey at the start, 0 to 50, 50 to 100. That's weekends, that's rejection, that's door to door, that's emails, that's follow up, that's dry gully, green shoot. You're trying, and then self doubt and a whole bunch of money that's required and all this other stuff, right? That you hear about when you listen to startup businesses, and you're like, geez, I didn't expect all of this, because simply a new product, and it's a lot of skepticism around it, and people have entrenched behaviors, and but it's a lesson in just digging in and resilience, and just keep controlling what you can control, and just managing what you can and letting it grow. And it's now in a sort of a young adolescent stage, I'd say.
Yeah. Do you find that obviously when you're trying to sell that, people pick out certain ingredients in it and go, oh, but what about, because I used to sell supplements like 7 years ago, and people would always pull up all this shit, and you're like, I've just seen you drop 10 pingers on the weekend, and you're worried about fucking magnesium.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what, it's not for binge people that are binging, right? Like if you're putting one meal, 2 bottles of vodka and no water from, Friday night to Sunday afternoon, like it's going to take something extraordinary to make you feel good on Monday.
Yeah.
But if you're, your average punter who, goes to the gym, likes doing that on the weekend, likes having a few pints, maybe do a concert here and there.
Yep.
It provides a good option for you.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. Like there's people that, you're like, oh, hey, what about this ingredient or that ingredient? And, what brings me the most joy is, comments and feedback.
Yep.
I said it to the boys and they're the same. Like, people that provide that, just honest feedback. It's like, you know what, I tried it. I didn't think it would do much, but you know what? It actually helped me. I'll buy it again.
Yep.
That stuff for me makes it, because then you start to move further away from the self-doubt in your mind. Yep. So when you go into new places and new venues to sell, or new relationships, you've got credibility in the product. And
what made you personally keep going, like when it was tough over the last 18 months?
And look, I think it's still, I think it's always going to be. There's just elements, like Wes was saying before. There's always elements. There's peaks and troughs. There's always going to be things that are going to come your way. But honestly, like this is for us doing something from the ground up, a brand new product in a country which has a pretty robust relationship with alcohol. From building something like that, bringing it to a new audience from scratch, doing that together with friends. That is extraordinary. That's a once in a lifetime thing, and you only get a certain amount of time, as you were saying before, to do things, and often those windows closes and and when it gets tough, sometimes all you've got is belief, where you're like, I don't know, but I'm just going to keep going here, and you ride that lightning together, and that's special, and there's a social media version of events, which are great, as you all know, and then there's hardcore realities of numbers that are in accounts, and then what you're going to do with those, and how your life is as a result of.
Yeah.
But
you probably noticed that Starge has an amazing vocabulary.
He's very well
Starge,
spoken.
can you just describe to Lockie and the audience how you're talking about the 300 shield?
Oh yeah.
So this will explain how the business.
So
is going.
just something like when you're at a function or party or whatever, naturally people are like, Sarge, how's the Body Armour going? What's happening? So instead of getting into a long-winded explanation, you would remember the movie 300.
Mate, it's like my doppelganger.
You actually look like one of the characters.
I got to get this up for you in a moment. But
so there's a scene in it where the 300 Spartans are dug right in, and they're under attack by the Persians, right? And they fire all the arrows at them. The arrows are flying in, and then they send in the cavalry to hit them, and they charge the Spartans. The Spartans have got their shields dug in, and they're stuck right next close to each other, and they hit them at force. And there's a scene where the camera zooms back out, and there's these guys like dug in. You can just see their sandal and this sort of massive forearm just holding their shield, just sort of sliding back in the sand, but holding the line, and arrows like coming in through the shield, and these two blokes looking at each other, and they're just sort of like half laughing, half sort of like raging at the situation. It's kind of a crazy look on their face. So Wes is like, "Oh, how's the business going?" I'm like, "Oh, do you remember the scene from 300?" And he's like, yeah. And I said, "It feels like a little bit like that at the moment, but
eventually the sliding stops.
Sometimes
then they push those shields back, and those
push back, and there's a dude that comes through, bang, he takes it, and then they survive, and they go again, and they go again, and they go again. So it feels like that at times, but when you're in that, try to notice it, enjoy it if you can, and know that it'll pass if you stick together.
I think that's cool to hear, because I think there are so many people out. I think right now is the most exciting time ever to have your own business or do what you love. Like, we don't have to do what people before us have done. Like, there's technology and what people are finding value in. Like, influencers is the craziest thing. So if there's people are investing money in influencers, anything that you want to do, if you get a good plan together and truly believe in it, it's like, it's cool to see. But there's also so many people that I speak to. It's like, I'll speak to them every 12 months or every 6 months, and they're like, I'm going to do this now. And they're like, saying that 2 years ago, but all right, I'm backing you.
Yeah.
And I'll probably speak to them in 6 months. I haven't done anything.
Well, it's a there's technical skill sets required for certain things.
Of course.
Within our group, there's business development that needs to get done, and there's accounts, and then there's creative work, and there's socials, and there's, door-to-door sales and delivery and logistics and administration. Like there's skills, but then in my lens, I like seeing attributes in people. So, if you mention friends that want to do something or start something, that's great. And sometimes they work and they go really well. But often when you need to go, you know what, this is a period here where I've got to be resilient. And sometimes it's you get through it and you're like, yep, great. And you get going again on some good momentum, and you might start a new business and you do okay. And then it could be flat, and then it could get worse. You're like, you know what? Some people will be like, no, I'm out.
Yep.
Not doing that. It's too much. And it's not for everyone anyway, because often there's people's circumstances, financial position, and their own skills where they just don't have the time or the inclination to do it, right? So yeah, that's part of the I suppose what supports us as a unit to get to where we are now, combined with really honest communication between us pretty regularly, and then just making sure that we stick to what we agreed at the start and what we want to achieve here, despite headwinds. And
where do you see it going?
I think, like Wes is saying, I think we're at a tipping point again, where I think, as I said, the journey from 0 to 100 is hard. 300 to 700 is, there's momentum there. I think with the restrictions beginning to lift and populations of people moving, increased interest in social interactions and the hospitality group getting back together and that kind of thing, and just this continual good feedback from customers that are either online or those that are in one of our locations. There's big populations that in Australia that may not have heard of us, and big areas in Victoria, New South Wales, that we do have a presence, but there's definitely more opportunity as well there too. I think I can't really predict anything anymore. The last 2 years has taught me that, but I think it's trending in the right direction. And we need to just now consolidate. I think if we can do that and manage that, then I would say, in a year's time, it would be good to be in 2,000 stores, something like that or more. So we'll
pretty
see.
Fucking exciting.
Or more, right?
Yeah,
totally.
But,
Mate, I love that analogy. Robust drinking community here in Brisbane. Mate, tell us how it works. So, let's say I'm going out.
Yep. So what happens is basically it's a 100 ml liquid. So we've just recently upgraded the bottle to aluminium, so it's safer to transport and post, and also quicker to chill. So pop that in the fridge, consume it cold, 1 hour before you have your first drink. It allows your body to absorb all that goodness, and gets your body ready, I suppose, for the evening or the lunch or the races or the meal or whatever you guys are doing, and then go about your night. So do that, have a good time, responsibly, all that sort of stuff. And then, Wes and others, and even myself, if I forget to have one at the start of the night, it's okay. Have one just before bed. And then that way, if you're getting even, 4 hours sleep or 5 hours, that, there are toxins in alcohol, which your body can process, but it can only process a certain volume of. So your body might be able to get through, the equivalent of three pints or something like that. And you'll wake up a little bit dusty, but okay. Yep. Any more than that, your body will be like, I have to recruit energy from other areas to process this, or it will lose that battle and will demand time off you the next day to get rid of it.
My body doesn't sound that polite the next morning. It's, it's like, fuck you.
So that's how you have it. Either, or if you really want to stay completely protected, you have one before and then like just bookend your night, one
that's
before,
what I
one
was
after.
doing.
That then you just get in the habit of doing that, and you can give yourself
that's the
next day.
protocol that I recommend. One before, and ideally it's an hour before. But if I forget, I just take it before I get in the taxi, or even if I had a couple of beers, I'll still neck one back. And then when I get home, so my protocol is obviously prior and then before I go to bed. And the other great thing that it helps me, like I used to have a couple of reds at night, and before I became protected, I used to just go to bed, but mate, I'd wake up sweating and I'd have a really disturbed sleep. Now I have a couple of reds. Let's say I come over for dinner, a couple of wines, mate, that's it. I'll have one before I go to bed. Mate, I sleep straight through.
Have you done that with like a heart, like?
No, mate, I haven't. I hate wearing a watch, but I've got a sleep cycle.
I'll test it, not tonight, but maybe Friday and get some data.
That'd be pretty cool.
And also, like, sometimes even if you like, as Wes was saying before, if you're feeling a bit run down, or sometimes you get in those loops where you might be like traveling a bit for work, or you're just feeling a bit kind of flat, and your body's fighting something. And it's trying to get on top of it. Just knock one back, and it'll assist your body to. What
about for athletes?
Yeah, so actually, good news from our end. We were approved earlier this year by ASADA. It's the elite athletic organisation in Australia. So it's quite a process to get through that. But we, part of our thinking throughout this is like, we'll get TJ approval.
Yep.
We'll aim for ASADA approval. They look at the product, they look at all the ingredients, and they say, you know what, this is clean. So
that's awesome.
If an athlete in whatever sport goes, you know what, they can go to a supplement, store or whatever, and they go, they can trust that product.
Yeah.
So they can
link up with the NRL clubs in off season.
There'd be some opportunities.
Those boys go pretty bad.
So it's that's really good for us, and that makes that's we're quite proud of that, right? Yeah. So it's there for athletes, and these are these aren't just sort of week to week CrossFitters. These are serious competitors, right? So you got to be good the next day.
Yeah. What did you notice, mate? Talk us through your journey.
I just always have I'm just a cranky fucker. Like I just can't be even around my missus. Not because I don't want to be. It's just because I'm wife. I'm so flat and like just in my head and feeling sad. So for me, like I was literally, when I think about nutrition and stuff, I'm always thinking, okay, well, how do I want to feel the next day? So if I need to be on with meetings and stuff, I'll eat really well to make sure I have energy. I felt, even though I had beers and shot all kinds of crap, I felt like I'd nutritionally loaded up the night before. Like I was a little bit tired, but like I said, I got out of bed and I felt like I was floating, not like a foggy float where your mental clarity is cooked. Like I was just normal.
Yeah. And it takes the sting out. When you open your eyes and particularly if you had shots.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, my head. Oh, fuck.
It's just throbbing. I was like, but that's what all the boys were dusty and I was fine. And then I was like, because they saw me have the drinks and I was like, nah, can't share them. It's my wedding.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah, mine.
Well, just when you explain that to me there, like this is, this is a person who's very aware of how he's feeling, right? So when you are training and you do hiking and you're doing your weights and your CrossFit and your saunas and your floats and all this cool stuff, you are thinking and you're feeling like, how am I feeling? Gee, that salad was good. It gave me a bit of power. Or, gee, Wes's tomahawk was outrageous. That was great.
Or one of his tomahawks.
Or you're like, you know what? Gee, I feel pretty flat. Like that was a rough one, but I'll push through. I'm glad that you had that sensitivity internally to go, you know what? Yep, this is working for me, given the onslaught that occurred, right?
Even like when you try, my go-to has always been coffee, like get a double shot of coffee the next day, but you still have that banging headache.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to, how I said I felt was how I felt, but like I think it was also for me, I was like, because you were banging on for like 4 months or something. We even did a podcast whenever it was, and you're like, I'm going to do this. And I was like, all right. Because I've tried things in the past, there's so many things, magnesium, coffee, and all these different types of tonics and drinks, and eventually just like, they don't work. So
How did Ames feel? What did she?
She's loving it. She's the same.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah,
but I took the last 2 off.
and it's
love you, babe.
Yeah.
It's
wifey for life.
It's interesting because in Australia, I thought, it's obviously connected to the alcohol industry and that sort of stuff, but we're in nutrition warehouses, we're in Terry White pharmacies, we're in night owls, we're in.
Yeah, I saw it up at Airlie Beach in the night owls. I was like, I've been smashing these, and she's like, do they work? I was like, yeah,
yeah.
So I'm still standing.
Great. So it's a balance of places where people are going to buy, supplements and shakes and other things that are there, and you experience some success in those places, and also over the counter at bottle shops and other convenience stores and that sort of stuff. So, and then online as well, right? So that helps as well with people that are in different parts of Australia where we're not quite there yet.
We got a few frothers listening, and I know because we're in November. November's starting. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to have their Mo's. They're going to have a few VBs or some kind of drink throughout the silly season. Where do people buy them? Like, obviously, apart from where you just but online and stuff.
Yeah, you can obviously go to our website, and we'll probably put the details up after this. You can buy them online. We're all through. We're in Terry White pharmacies, as I said, Night Owl, Liquor Legends, Bottle Mart, Thirsty Camel, Nutrition Warehouse, IGA, supermarkets, Celebrations, bottle shops, and then in a whole range of independent ones as well, like. All sorts of convenience stores and other ones that are around Brizzy and other parts of Australia where, it's there. You can go to our website as well, and you'll find a store locator. Yep. So it's got all of the dots on various parts of the city, each city in Australia or region where you can find it. And we update that regularly. That's where you can do it. I'd encourage you to people to, get ahead of it and just put a little bit of planning in. And
I was going to say the biggest tip is honestly being November is just buy a carton.
Buy a carton or a 6-pack or whatever.
And put it in your fridge. Don't go, I'll go to Terry White and get it. Like that's but think ahead. Like get it delivered.
Meal
gets delivered
prepping
to your
or doing
door.
it daily. So
everyone have it in the fridge.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm going to eat healthy this week. And it's like, have you prepped? No, and then day by day they're fucking going, I'll go to the hot box, I'll do this, and they end up eating not as well as they wanted to. So it's the same with this.
Yeah, and I think also too, what we face here in Brisbane as well is once you get into that hotter months, you tend to be up a little bit later too because it's the festive season. So and then that sun is up and it's hot early, so. You get into that cycle during the week where you could miss your sleep or you get a little bit out of routine. The sun gives you the power to get through, but you do that for a few weeks and you start to split at the seams, like it's a wobble to get through. So this sort of product, if you just got it in the fridge, you can then have it, use it, at your leisure.
Australian owned too. Love it.
Yeah.
From Sport Australia.
Australian owned, Irish owned.
No. Yeah.
They're all Aussies.
Yeah. It's as I said, it's going to make an interesting movie when it comes time.
I fucking can't wait. I just get so excited about like mates getting together to do something that fixes like a genuine problem.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be awesome to hear all the stories that come along the way.
Sarge, could I ask, because
sure, mate.
A little bit off topic, but no, not really. But your circle of friends are all very, got their own business and whatnot. Did you find that sort of pushed you along initially? Is that something?
Yeah, the guys that are in the business with me now, or the four of us, we've all been PAYG guys, white collar guys working for big companies, doing well. And you surf the economic cycles. 2009 you go well, mining goes up, you do okay. Then you hit down patches and you might make decent money, then flat, and then you got to travel and see different parts of the world. So, but I've never had my own business. But obviously, being friends with Wes and his and an extended group from there, I mean, you go through the group and, there's people with a variety of businesses, there's property and there's, pest control and there's, all sorts of other things that people are doing. And yeah, I remember doing a stock take. I was at a dinner there a couple of years ago, and I think I looked around the table and I was like, there's 20 people here. There's only 2 people here that are working for a company. At the time I was at BHP, and which was cool. It was a good opportunity and all that sort of stuff. And I looked around and I thought, wow, that's changed. In Australia, like 20, 30 years ago, it would probably be the other way, where it would be, oh, you're at Telstra. Oh, great. I'm in the army, or I'm in this or that. And yeah, so that gives me, like solace and hope that, we can do it too. Right. Yep. But in a very different field, like drinks and these products they're different. It's not as straightforward.
Yeah, it's
a bit of a jungle to get through.
But it's a game changer.
Couldn't agree more, mate. I could not agree more. I'm going to get some for the Christmas party for the lads. Yeah. So for the lads who are lucky enough to get invited to the Christmas party.
Great.
I can't invite everyone. Otherwise, it'd just be chaos. So it'd be for the
and again, word of mouth, we appreciate all that support and a referral in terms of these types of products is huge. From a mate to a mate, it's massive for us.
It's good because then you don't have to deal with a grumpy ass mate in the morning either. just solve a problem. Yeah. It's simple.
But do you want to talk about the walk, or you want to wrap it up? We've been going for a little while.
Yeah, we'll wrap her.
We'll do another one.
Yeah, we'll do another one. We were going to talk about something else, but we've been just chewing the fat with some great stuff there. But gentlemen, just quickly, where can people follow you on socials or websites? Just drop all that. I will put it in the show notes, but drop that.
Yep. We're on Instagram, bodyarmour.au, and then we're on Facebook as well. You can find us on there. And then obviously just type it into Google, and we're one of the first ones that comes up, Body Armour. You'll see it, Body Armour Hangover Relief, and then dive onto our website from there.
Perfect.
I'm Wes Vasil. You can find me on Insta, Facebook, but most of all, as Lachie knows, mental health's a big thing for us. So Walk for Awareness or mentalawarenessfoundation.org.au. That's where we sort of get quite active in that mental health space. So find us there. But Lachie, game changer.
Game changer. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
For coming
Thank
on.
you for this opportunity again.
Oh, mate. We're going to get you to 5. You'll be the first person for 5. All right, and gents, thank you guys for tuning in. If it is your first time on, make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're the same. We're word of mouth for podcasts. There's no fancy algorithms with podcasts yet. So just share it with mates that will get value from it. And obviously, coming into the silly season, I'll be...
Mate, you'll be protected. Mate, you'll be staying protected.
I will be staying protected, I tell you. But I also will probably give one lucky listener a 6-pack.
Ooh,
do a little giveaway.
That. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that'll be fun.
Yep.
What, best comment or something like that?
Stay tuned. I'll put it up with a reel.
Okay,
so
cool.
For those who are listening, go back through the page. You've probably seen it, and we'll get active on there. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachie Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favourite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.